Hi everybody, it's Babs here. It is Friday, it's 1 o'clock, which means it is time for our weekly live stream. Now, this week I'm going to be talking about how important it is to celebrate our successes, not only for our own mental health, but also they're an excellent way to find content to be talking about and to be sharing with your community. And also, we deserve some success. Too many people are keen to tear us down and say that you didn't quite do that, or well, that didn't work as well as you think, and that wasn't as good as you were hoping. And yet they are not there to support us when we actually have some successes. Hi there, Stephanie. So it's really, really important that we take time to work out if we are having success, and if we are, to then celebrate that. Now, I'm retrospectively downloading copies of all of these live streams to go on to the blog. So if anybody misses it, there'll be a replay on Facebook for generally about a week, and then after that you can go and find any old replays of live streams over on the Yarn Academy website. Hi there, Karen, good to see you. And so this will continue to be one of those posts that you'll be able to find again in the future. Now, the key thing with celebrating success is trying to define for yourself what a success would be. So, did you get accepted to a new course? Are you learning a new skill? Have you finally managed to do XYZ thing? Cast on for a toe-up sock if you've always struggled with it. Have you had a pattern accepted for a magazine? Have you successfully managed to partner up for a collaboration? Have you been booked as a speaker for an event? Have you had the opportunity to do an interview? All of these things are definitely successes, and there are other opportunities for you to look for successes in what you do. So for those of you who are here and have and are actually participating live, can you tell me, one, have you had a success in the last month? And I think pretty much everyone will be able to say yes, but I want you to actually say it rather than just think it, because the whole point of celebrating it is sharing that. But we'll take it with tiny steps. So the first thing is, can you just say yes or no, have you had a success in the last month? Excuse me. And the other thing that I wanted to mention was that whilst, for some of those examples that I've already given, have you been accepted by a magazine? That's a fairly obvious, you can say that's a success. But there are other ways that you can actually say whether you have had a success or not. And I think those are things that sometimes we need to look back at. So it could be that you have had a certain number of people sign up to your newsletter, or you have had a certain number of people purchase a pattern or download a freebie. Your views on your website have hit a certain target. And the only way you'll know those, oh, excellent, I'm getting yeses here, high fives, collaborating with a new indie designer, with Karen, excellent. And Stephanie, what was your yes? What was your success? Pattern accepted for a sock magazine from Karen. This is where we start to see we're actually more successful than we potentially think we are, because it's really easy for people to say, I'm not doing so well, I'm not seeing the numbers, I'm not seeing the returns, I don't have 10 million followers on Instagram. But the reality of life is that you're actually making a lot more positive steps than you probably realise. Hello, Sophie. You coming up to say hello? No, you're just going to hover down below. Okay. And we really, really do need to acknowledge the successes, and even these ones that we're talking about. So it's being accepted for a magazine, working with a new designer and dyer. These are not small things. These are actually quite significant successes. So they definitely need to be acknowledged and celebrated. So again, you can look through at some of your numbers, and this is another reason that you can actually work through your financials, which I always dread to do. Hi, Paula. And by looking back over numbers, sometimes it's not as exciting as we might want it to be. But it does make us realise, one, which patterns are really popular, what is actually selling. Is there a promo code or a discount code that is working more successfully than anything else for people out there? Is there a type of design that our audience will just eat up? In which case, do more of that. But you won't know any of those things unless you are bold enough to go back and look at what you've done. And then you can start working with those successes and replicating them and building your income and your audience. And the only way you can do that is by knowing what actually is a success, rather than just sort of throwing stuff out there and hoping that the next thing you make will work. If you know that people love a cowl, or they love a shawl, or they love a sock, then just do more of those. And so it makes things slightly easier, rather than this big guessing game as to what your audience likes. You now know that they really like this particular type of item. Now, one of the other things that we can do when we are celebrating our success is actually translate that into content. For people that are constantly worrying about, what do I say in a newsletter? I've got to do another blog post this week. What can I talk about? All of these successes make for brilliant content for newsletters or for updates. You can share links to other people's products if you're working on a collaboration, if you have an interview coming up, if you have a pattern coming out. All of these types of things will make brilliant content for your Instagram, for your Facebook feed, for your blog posts. So you also benefit from having shared audiences and using keywords. So definitely celebrate this kind of stuff. If you've learned a new skill and you want to share that, you can actually create a whole series of blog posts around learning a new skill. I am going to be struggling my way through learning how to knit continental style. So I'm a thrower, so I knit English style, which is basically right-handed, and I want to learn to knit continental style, which is left-handed, which in theory will make me a faster knitter. So I'm actually going to be creating a series of YouTube videos which will be utterly humiliating for me, I'm sure, because I'm going to look like a toddler. I'm not going to have a clue what I'm doing, but that sort of content is really good content for building your connection, your know, like, trust with people, because they see you struggle and they see that it's not impossible, and that they're not the only person who's going through this difficulty of learning some new skill, whether that is colour work or knitting socks or turning a heel, or just picking up needles for the first time. Exactly, Paula, not the only one. Precisely. Hi there, Charlie. Good to see you joined us. So it really is an excellent way of filling out your newsletters, your blog posts, and making you feel better about yourself as well at the same time, to celebrate any successes. So Karen has got a collaboration coming up. Paula, Charlie, do either of you have any successes along the lines of new courses, magazines, new learning, collaborations, being booked as speakers for events, getting interviews in either guest podcasts or on somebody's blog or on a YouTube channel? Have you had any successes in those sort of areas? Hi, Charlie. Because what I'm asking people to do is actually share when something positive is happening in their business for them at the moment, because it's very easy for us to forget what has worked and what has not worked. So I'm asking those who are actually here on the call live to think over the last 4 weeks, over the last month, have you done any of those things? And just share if that has actually happened in the last month for you. And again, these are things that everybody could be aiming to work towards. Each week we have a listing in Yarn Academy of all the open calls for magazine collaborations. And we also have, excellent, Paula, sending collaboration design out for testing. You see, I knew there'd be stuff. People say that they haven't had their successes, and yet there is stuff bubbling along in the background that you just kind of forget about and don't recognise as being a success. And this is why we need to really think about where we are succeeding in our businesses, to give ourselves that credit, that compliment that we are succeeding. And we can build towards creating these opportunities for ourselves on a regular basis. And the final part of that, so there's kind of identifying what our successes are, sharing them with people. Oh, now you want me to? Paul has just put in a quote with an incredibly long name that you actually want me to try and read out. So bear with me 1 second. Artisanatarium Design Challenge. I mean, flipping heck, that's a word and a half. Artisanatarium. What is that challenge, Paula? Can you give me a bit of a description, or if it's still a challenge that's open, can you pop a link to it in the comments so that other people know what you're actually talking about? Because I've never heard of that before. Probably my ignorance, but I've not heard of that before. Sorry, but that's an incredible name. So yes, there's three parts to celebrating our success. One is recognizing when we are succeeding. The second is to then utilize that to create content and to create connections with our audience. And the third part of that is actually to give ourselves a treat, to celebrate it, not just to tell people about it, but to actually acknowledge it to ourselves. Now, for those people who say, well, I always book in a monthly spa treatment, or I've always got a massage that I treat myself to once a month, my comment is, if it's a regular activity, it's not a treat. If that's once a week or once a month or something that's already booked in, it's lovely. Don't get me wrong. If you're having a once a month massage, that's fabulous. But it's not actually a reward for a success. It's not an out of the ordinary treat. It's something that's run of the mill that you do. It's a lovely run of the mill thing to have, but it is a run of the mill activity. The other thing I wanted to say was that treats do not necessarily have to cost huge amounts of cash. So it could be that you're allowing yourself to have some quiet time. It could be that you are barricading yourself in the bathroom with some candles and some quiet music and just giving yourself that space for however long a bath would be for you to have an enjoyable, lovely bath. Now, for me, that would be probably 3/4 of an hour with hot water topping it up all the way through so I could actually read a book and thoroughly enjoy myself whilst relaxing without people hammering on the door and asking me to come and do something really mundane and make them a cup of tea or find something. So you can also have time with friends. Just invite some friends over for an evening where you're normally too busy and you've got too much life going on, but you take the time to actually book something in, put something in the calendar, and that can be your treat for yourself. Obviously, you can do massage and nails and things like that, but you know, that again costs a bit of money. You can go out and buy a book. If you've got a book that you've been wanting to read forever, but you've never done it, just go and get the book. Or if you don't want to buy it, go and get it from the library even. Treat yourself to a course if there's a technique or skill or something that you want to learn that's not going to be extortionate and isn't going to break the bank. Or go out and see a movie. You know, it doesn't have to be a huge thing, but something that acknowledges that you have had a success. You know, you've got an interview coming out, go see a film. You've got a magazine that's accepted your pattern. Treat yourself to a luxurious bath bomb filled evening of relaxation and quiet time. And Stephanie's saying, "Oh my God, time alone, amazing!" It is amazing, but your successes deserve an amazing celebration, a treat, something that means something to you. So could everybody that's here, whether you're watching it on a replay, in which case use the hashtag replay, tell us what your ideal low-cost treat would be for yourself. Don't be shy, just put down anything, because you may well be giving people inspiration of things that they'd never even considered as being a low-cost treat. So that would be really, really cool if you could share some of those. Let's see what Paul is saying. She's a designer out of Norway. She's had the challenge before, but opened it up to designers out of her area. Right, it's not open at the moment, but she's planning on others in the future. That would be great. Paula, if you let Karen know next time that there is a design challenge that is open, then Karen can include that in our open calls, if that's possible. If not, just give us the details and I'll contact this particular designer and see if she'd be up for some promotion and interview and that kind of thing. So that's really cool. Let me see. Charlie, you've been remarkably quiet other than your hello. Have you had any successes in the last month? Anything that you're pleased about that has worked well? And please, can everybody be sharing what your ideal treat would be, your low cost treats for celebrations? So I've come up with some suggestions. Quiet time. Stephanie, I'd kill for the time alone, but I've been buying myself small courses under $50 for celebrations. Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool, Stephanie. Don't deny yourself alone time. Find something to celebrate that you can have some alone time for as well. But yes, small courses under $50. It's also useful for me to know what you consider a small course. So the sock course, the Sock Love Masterclass has just come out, and that is, I think, £47. So that's around the $50 mark. So that's just come out. So it's always interesting to know whether people consider that a small course, because that's 9 weeks of huge amounts of content. Huge amounts of content, but obviously the price is a small course price. So, well, there we go. You learn something new all the time. Paula, gourmet yarn. That is always a good one, but I'm not sure that it's necessarily cheap. But yeah, I totally understand the reward to yourself of gourmet yarn. It's just fabulous. Absolutely gorgeous. And the other thing that I was going to mention this week is that next week I'm running the Find Your Focus Challenge. So again, that will help you define what is a success to you. So what do you class as a success? Is it the fact that you've managed to do an amount of work and you still have a certain amount of time left over for family and friends? Is it that you're earning a certain amount? Is it that you're creating a certain number of patterns? There's a whole host of different definitions of what success is for somebody, and we cover that in quite a lot of detail in the Find Your Focus Challenge. For those of you that have done it in the past, you're not automatically going to be signed up for the new one, so please do go to the Find Your Focus registration page. It's free. Oh, my voice is going now. It is free, and it's the only way that you'll actually get the emails coming through. And this may be the last one that I run live and in person. Obviously, I will always be in the group to support people who are going through it, but my goal is to record all of the live sessions so that it can be automated on a more regular basis going forward. So this one may be the last one that's done for free and is done with me actually answering your questions live every single day of the week about how to set your goals, how to define your tasks and your business activities and actions. So if you haven't, please sign up, and I will put the link, unless Karen does it for me, I will put the link to the Find Your Focus sign up page in the group again, and also on this live stream. Once this particular one is run, then I will set it to run automatically once every other month probably, so that if people want to get involved and look at them, look at their plans and everything on an every other month basis, then there'll be that opportunity to do that. Does anybody have any questions for me? Again, if you have any questions outside of a live stream, then use the hashtag Q4Babs. So that's the letter Q, the number 4, and then the word Babs, B-A-B-S. Charlie, my treat would be a night off with a bottle of wine and a good book. Doesn't happen. You need to make it happen, Charlie. You simply need to make it happen. Hi there, Frenchie. So we all deserve to celebrate our successes. As I said, there are too many people who are trying to knock us down and say that things are not succeeding as well as we hoped, and we potentially do that to ourselves as well. So we really need to take these opportunities to promote ourselves, to recognise when we have succeeded at something, and to then reward ourselves. And as I say, it does not have to be a desperately expensive reward. It can simply be forcing that elusive time element out of our day. So as nobody else appears to have any questions, I will say goodbye for now, and I will be keeping an eye out for any questions that come up for the rest of the day, and I will see you all next week. So until then, bye for now.